Most people think self-discipline is about forcing yourself to do things you don't want to do. But the truth is simpler. Self-discipline is actually a set of habits that reduce friction between you and the actions that matter. It's less about strength and more about structure. Your brain wants to conserve energy, so it naturally avoids anything that feels uncertain, uncomfortable, or effortful. This is why you procrastinate, not because you're weak, but because your brain is protecting you from perceived effort. The key is to make the behavior easier than the avoidance. When you break tasks down, remove tiny barriers, and make the first step effortless, your brain begins treating the habit as the low-energy option. That's when consistency begins to feel natural, not forced. Self-discipline isn't a personality trait. It's a system you design. If you want long-term discipline, you have to stop relying on motivation and start relying on identity. Identity lock-in works because the brain is wired to act in alignment with how you see yourself. When your identity changes, your habits follow automatically. Here's how it works. Instead of saying, "I want to be consistent," you shift to, "I am someone who shows up." Instead of "I want to read more," say, "I'm a reader." Small identity statements signal your brain to match your behavior to your self-image. Then make these identities easy to prove. Read one page. Do one push-up. Write one paragraph. The moment you take a small action, the brain says, "This is who we are now." When your identity takes over, discipline becomes effortless. You're no longer trying to force behavior. You're simply acting as yourself. The biggest enemy of self-discipline isn't laziness. It's the feeling that a task is too big. The 5-minute anchor destroys that barrier. Here's the rule. Commit to just 5 minutes of the task, nothing more. The brain handles short tasks easily because they don't trigger resistance. The science is simple. Once you begin, your brain shifts into task mode, and dopamine makes it easier to continue. This is called the initiation effect. 5 minutes of studying usually becomes 20. 5 minutes of cleaning becomes a whole room. 5 minutes of exercise becomes a full workout. Your goal isn't to finish the task. Your goal is to start it. When you anchor your habits to a tiny time frame, consistency stops being a battle. Your brain stops arguing because the task no longer feels heavy. And if you love learning how the mind actually works, not cliches but real psychology, that's exactly what we explore here on SavvyVerze. From brain training to self-improvement science, everything is designed to help you think clearer and live smarter. So if this resonates, you're in the right place. Start small. The momentum takes care of the rest. Your environment is stronger than your willpower, and science proves it. The more friction between you and your goal, the harder discipline becomes. The more friction between you and your distractions, the easier discipline becomes. This is environmental autopilot. Design your surroundings so good habits become the default option. If you want to read more, place the book on your pillow. If you want to work out, lay your clothes on the chair. If you want to study, remove phone notifications or place it in another room. You're not being disciplined. You're making the right choice the easiest choice. Your environment trains your behavior quietly, repeatedly, and automatically. Change the environment, and your habits follow. Self-discipline becomes less about forcing yourself and more about designing a space where success happens naturally. Most people fail because they rely on motivation, which is unpredictable. A consistency contract replaces emotion with structure. Here's how it works. You choose one habit. You decide the smallest possible version of it. You commit to doing it daily, and you track it publicly, even if it's just on your phone or a notebook. The moment you see a streak forming, your brain becomes invested in protecting it. This is the loss aversion effect. We hate losing progress more than we love gaining it. A simple streak tracker can increase your consistency dramatically because your brain now sees your habit as something valuable, something worth maintaining. One daily action, one tiny commitment, one visible streak. This contract turns self-discipline into a game your brain wants to win.